Now, President Cyril Ramaphosa will today host his Ukrainian counterpart, President Volodymyr Zelenskyy, on Zelenskyy's first official visit to South Africa at the Union Buildings in Pretoria. Now, Zelenskyy's visit follows Ramaphosa's 2023 visit to the Ukraine as part of the Africa Peace Initiative. And Russia invaded Ukraine in February of 2022, and there have been recent calls from the United States in particular for a ceasefire. Now, to talk to us more about today's visit and other issues, we're joined virtually by the Ambassador of Ukraine to the Republic of South Africa, Liubov Abravitova. Good morning, Ambassador. Thanks for speaking to us here on Morning Live.
Good morning. Thank you for having me today.
Ambassador, I guess the foremost question is President Zelenskyy's visit to Pretoria, and what might he be hoping to achieve with South Africa on this visit?
It is a historical visit. It is historical for both of us, for Ukraine and South Africa. As you rightly said, the first visit in our bilateral relations to South Africa, but also first visit of President Zelenskyy to the African continent. In the very crucial times when we are marking almost 11 years of Russian aggression in Ukraine, more than 3 years of full-scale invasion of one of the Security Council permanent members and violator of the international law and UN Charter. We think that it is very important for us to continue the dialogue, of course, not only around Russian invasion of Ukraine, but focus on the strengthening of bilateral relations, bilateral ties, to look at the agenda that can help us, both countries, to get stronger and to be able to resist the challenges of the today's geopolitical turbulence.
And of course, quite a bit happening and things shifting on that geopolitical front. But with both President Zelenskyy and President Ramaphosa emphasizing the need for an inclusive peace process, Ambassador, what role is Ukraine hoping that South Africa could play in bringing about peace between Ukraine and Russia?
We have to be very technical. We need to see what deliverables, the real achievements we both can agree on during such an important engagements, because our people are watching us. They want us to be able to resolve the difficult challenges step by step. So what I would say is important for us today is that to continue our engagement on return of Ukrainian children that abducted by Russia. The leadership of South Africa this year in G20 gives even more leverage to your country, which is the leader in the region, in the continent, and today in the G20. We will speak about our future, but how one can speak about the future, not speaking about the youth. And today Russia is deliberately holding our youth, holding our future, not allowing us to build our own and sovereign country. So I think it's the broader discussion. It's the discussion of democracy, of joint values, and on practical things. Also, when we can speak about this particular important issue. Obviously that we cannot avoid speaking on the reform of different international institutions and multilateral forums. It is obviously that the time has come for such a reform, and I'm sure it will be on the table of negotiations between our presidents.
Which institutions are you referring to, Ambassador?
I'm referring to the United Nations and to the reform of the Security Council, where a long-standing discussion about participation or presence and the permanent seat for African countries should be guaranteed.
And then, of course, speaking of what's happening geopolitically across the globe, South Africa and Ukraine seemingly not, the favorites of the United States Trump administration right now. So in that regard, and given what was said yesterday by the Trump administration regarding peace in the war between Ukraine and Russia, what is required as far as Ukraine is concerned to bring about long-lasting peace in this particular conflict?
Look, our position has been permanent, clear, and I think very fair. You cannot but agree that to stop the war and to achieve lasting peace, the only thing needed is for Russia to withdraw from Ukraine's territory and stop killing Ukrainian people. As President Zelenskyy landed yesterday in South Africa, during all the night, Ukrainians were bombed by Russians with a complex new approach that Russia is implementing today, hitting our peacefully sleeping cities, our citizens, with missiles and drones. We have casualties tonight again. Our flag at the embassy has been half-masted for almost 1 month because every day Ukraine is experiencing losses, not only protecting our land on the borders, but also just in the peaceful cities. The civilians are paying today the price for our reluctance to maybe stand stronger and firmer on the values of the UN Charter. I guess that the Russians not desire to and not seriousness around the negotiations is obvious today. I don't need to convince our viewers about it, but Ukraine has been committed to the peace talks and to diplomatic solutions, and my president has been declaring it on every possible platform. No one wants peace more than Ukraine. No one wants peace more than Ukrainian people and our children. And this will be in the focus of our discussion.
And I would imagine, no doubt. And just a final question, Ambassador, with regard to economic partnerships. Now, are there plans to enhance economic ties between Ukraine and South Africa on this trip?
Absolutely. And this question actually is very much related with the previous one that we were discussing, because how you can achieve the lasting peace, the just peace, and guarantee it to be sustainable if you live with the 1,500 kilometers border with the neighbor who is not democratic, who is aggressor. You have to be strong. We need to build the bilateral ties through strengthening of our economies with any possible way. And we have such a potential between Ukraine and South Africa in different spheres that can contribute to our sustainable development of economies. So I think this is definitely of the importance for Ukraine to discuss these issues. Our first Vice Prime Minister, who is the Minister of Economic Development, is the part of delegation of President Zelenskyy. She has been here for 2 days with discussions both in private sector and government regarding how we are going to build our economic and trade ties stronger.
Well, we'll leave it there for now. Thank you so much for your time, Ambassador. That was Liubov Abravitova, Ambassador of Ukraine to South Africa, talking to us about President of Ukraine Volodymyr Zelenskyy's visit. It's his first official visit to South Africa today.